DramaCityProductions.com.
Check out the Raw Opinion Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and wherever else you find a great podcast.
Dude, why are you doing that voice? Just say, hey, come listen to Roy, Aaron, and Will on the Raw Opinion Podcast for laughs, football bets, and shit talking. We're three friends in North Central Texas sitting around a poker table, talking bro science and giving raw opinions.
Well, fuck yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's Seamus from the Chewed Gum and Crime and Movies podcast, and right now you're listening to Sack 'em Up Sundays podcast, the show that talks about anything, everything, and nothing, brought to you by two people with little to no knowledge on what they're saying. Find this show and many more at DramaCityProductions.com. Yes!
This call is being recorded.
I like to record everything ahead of time so I can just like start the show out mid-conversation and shit, you know.
Yeah, that's cool with me. That sounds like and when it said this call is recording, I felt like it was the feds waiting for a confession.
Oh yeah, well it's like the sexiest like Siri voice that you'll ever hear. Like, this call is being recorded. Like the NSA is trying to fucking seduce you or some shit.
Did you see the video of the female rapper who does a perfect Siri voice?
I don't think so. No.
I gotta send that to you when we get a chance. It's hilarious. She sounds exactly like Siri.
All right, well, fuck it. Let's roll right into it. Welcome to Sack 'em Up Sundays. I am your host, Brandon Fisher, and Dale is not with me this week. But fear not, my listeners. We have a hero amongst us today, because he actually reminded me that we were going to be recording an episode today. Thank fucking God for that. Delvin Cox from the Delvin Cox Experience. How we doing, bud?
Good, brother. Sack 'em up.
That's right, man. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on. I did a guest spot with you a few weeks back that should be coming out sometime in the next couple weeks or so. So maybe we could get this all together for like a whole official crossover shit. But yeah, if you want, yeah, now is the chance to give your show a little quick plug. Tell everyone what it's all about.
I am the host of the Delvin Cox Experience. It's a podcast about diversity, basically, just talking to different people, hearing their experiences in life. And it's a great podcast, if I say so myself, because you get different walks of life and conversation with different types of people and stuff like that. And Brandon basically came on there and just turned it on his head. It is probably one of the most offensive episodes I've ever recorded. Yeah, it was such a great time.
Well, I remember, like, as soon as we finished recording the episode, you had sent me a message. And you're like, I think I might have to put my first ever disclaimer on this show. I wear that like a badge of pride right there. Like, fuck yeah, I've made it.
Yeah, usually I try to keep it PG-13. Oh, we didn't hit that week.
No. I think like PG-13, like you're allowed one fuck and like maybe one dick joke in there. I took that shit way off.
Yeah, it's literally a Scorsese film, or like The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh man, shit! I can't help it, man. I can't shut this filter off. That's what Sack 'em Up Sundays is for. So I can just like get rid of the fucking crazy shit.
Hey, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I like to do my podcast to make it people friendly, but it's good to have podcasts out here like that just keeps it real, man. Just be honest. You kick back and relax and tell the truth. Speak your game, brother.
Well, I think it's more talking out of my ass than telling the truth, but whatever fucking works, I mean, I don't know like 90% of the shit that I talk about. I'm just like, fuck it.
But that's cool though, because that's what conversation with friends are. My podcast is kind of like Arsenio Hall or something like that. Or this podcast is more like more of a conversation between friends in terms of how friends really talk to each other.
Oh yeah, and that's what I wanted. Like, I just wanted it to be like, me and my buddies sit down, we smoke some joints, and we just shoot the shit about some random fucking questions and chaos, and it just gets crazy from there. So like, fuck it, we got to record that shit.
Yeah, that's definitely it's cool. I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, but I mean, where can everyone find your podcast at? Where can we follow you? This is the time, man. You drop those plugs.
I am on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. And the podcast is literally on every podcast app you can think of. It's on Spotify now. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play. It's on everything.
So
It's the
when
Delvin Cox Experience.
when you guys are done listening to this shit, you shut this off and you go right and find the Delvin Cox Experience and check it out. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I think it's a really good podcast for everybody. It's one of those few podcasts. And as long as you don't listen to the Sacramento Sundays episode, it's generally for everybody. It's a fun listen, but the Sacramento Sundays episode, you have to definitely listen to late night by yourself.
Well, I mean, if you're listening to this show, then they already know what they're in for. So,
yeah, because you're gonna hear stories about cocaine.
oh yeah, and we had we had some fucked up Avengers shit, and that was a good one. And I mean,
yeah, it was amazing.
Well, as per tradition with Sack 'em Up Sundays, I have done little to no prep work for this episode. So I'm going to be relying very heavily on the listeners who provided me with a shit ton of questions. You guys are fucking awesome, by the way. Keep following us over at Sack 'em Up Sundays. Send your questions. I need your bad tattoo submissions in. It's March 1st is coming up now, and we need some more entries in there to get some ideas flowing. But it will be done. But I got a bunch of questions from Twitter. I'm going to be passing your way. But first, I got a few that I'd like to get over with you. And the first one, I actually came up with about an hour ago because my fiance is watching the Harry Potter movies over again, and I'm not really a big Harry Potter fan. Like, I read the books and shit when I was younger, but I never really liked the movies so much. But I'm sitting there watching it with her, and it dawns on me like these wizards and witches, they have all these magical powers and all this shit, but they're still like getting letters via like carrier pigeons and owls and shit. So but it's like, what year is the Harry Potter universe like set around? Because like they all dress in modern clothing, but they have no fucking technology. Like, you never see a TV or a cell phone or a computer or fucking nothing. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You got magic powers and shit. But don't tell me you're not wanting to send text messages or get on Snapchat.
That's a good point. See, it's just this thing about that is I've never seen a Harry Potter movie.
Oh man, you're really not missing out on much.
People tell me it's great, but I've seen Fantastic Beasts, so I have a little bit of knowledge of Harry Potter.
Okay.
Because my son made me watch Fantastic Beasts. I thought it was good. I thought it was an okay movie. I don't know what time frame it is because Fantastic Beasts is it looked like it's the early days of like American stuff like that. It's like a weird movie.
Well, I think Fantastic Beasts is set before Harry Potter comes to play. So it's like I can understand that being set in the past, but it looks like these kids are in like modern fucking day England, and yet nobody's got a cell phone. I'm not buying it. Nobody's jerking off in this movie. Like, this kid's in school for fucking like 8 years, and you're telling me that there's not like one scene where he almost gets caught cranking it under that invisible cloak and shit.
I think that's a whole different Harry Potter movie.
It's like if like American Pie was set in the Harry Potter universe and Jason Biggs is like fucking Harry Potter and shit.
That would kind of be dope. Somebody should actually make that idea a reality, like a adult version of Harry Potter, not a Pornhub version, but like a more realistic take on Harry Potter.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were already porn versions of that movie somewhere.
Yeah, I'm quite sure it is.
Oh shit! I don't even know why I fucking thought about it. I'm watching this movie. I'm like, God damn, like no one's texting or nothing. It's so weird to watch a movie based in modern times and no one's like fucking around with technology.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, because living in the times we live in today, it's like people can't be without their phone. So seeing a movie set in today's time, you're like, where the fuck is their phone?
That's what I'm saying.
Like
I'm talking to you right now, and as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at my fucking phone.
Yeah, that's the way our life is right now, man.
Right. I'm only looking up. Like, I got a fucking list of random ask questions. I'm trying to see which ones would be good to ask you.
Oh, ask some bad offensive ones. I'm down for any question you gotta ask.
Oh, I know that. Oh shit. Well, I'm gonna bring back a question that you had asked me on your show. Only I'm gonna tweak it just ever so slightly. You had asked me if I was able to assemble my own team of Avengers using like any sort of superhero characters. Who would I pick?
Okay.
And I think I'm going to ask you the same question. Only instead of assembling soup, like you're making your own Avengers movie, and instead
Okay.
of using the actors and everything for the Avengers, you can only use the holograms of dead celebrities.
Okay.
Yeah, who are you gonna pick? Like, who is like what hologram is gonna play Iron Man and shit like that?
Okay, this is good. See, I gotta think of dead celebrities now that
And,
would make good Avengers.
now, and you don't have to like you can go like fucking as far back as like Charlie Chaplin or whoever the hell you want. You know what I mean? Like as long as they're dead, you can just fucking have at it.
Okay. So we're going with the. So how many I need? 5?
Well,
What is it,
let's
5 or 6 with the Avengers?
let's. I mean, you don't have to do that many. Let's just do like 4. I think it'd be easier to just get 4 names put together. But like, you gotta
Okay.
pick like what superhero they're going to be going into too.
Okay, so Carrie Fisher will be. I think that's a very close to Scarlett Johansson. So I think that works.
Okay, I can see that. Are we talking young Carrie Fisher or like Force Awakens Carrie Fisher?
To be funny, I'll say Force Awakens Carrie Fisher.
See, I kind of like that too, like a 70-year-old Carrie Fisher in like black leather, fucking like
Doing the flips and shit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm down with that one. Okay, let's see now. The Hulk. Fuck it, Michael Jackson. Let's go all the way with it. I want Michael Jackson as the Hulk, moonwalking, fucking kicking people in the face with Michael Jackson kick, smashing them.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got a fight. You can't have Michael Jackson in there if he's not like moonwalking around and grabbing his Hulk crotch and just going.
Yes, and when he gets angry, he turns from black to white. Bam! I got it. I can make that joke, y'all. I'm black.
When I'm angry, y'all. I'm mad. Ah! Oh,
I think I got two good choices.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. Okay. So who else we got?
The third one. See, the obvious choice would be Steve Jobs as Iron Man.
Okay, now I'm curious as to why you think that's the obvious choice, because that's not where I was gonna go with it, but I like what you're thinking.
Because he's the Apple guy. He's kind of him and Tony Stark is compared to each other a lot.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna go. What is his name? The guy who's in the wheelchair, who's a paraplegic.
Stephen Hawking as fucking Iron Man.
Stephen Hawking as Iron Man.
It's
Fuck it. We're going all the way with this.
It's great because he could do the voice of the fucking robot that's in his head too. It's perfect. So it's just Stephen Hawking talking to himself in the Iron Man suit and shit.
Yes.
Now, can he's in the Iron Man suit. Can he move around? Like, does the suit move for him, or is he stuck in the chair in the fucking suit?
I want him stuck in the chair in the suit. That seems like the best way to do this.
So we're just putting Stephen Hawking in a fucking like Iron Man mask, and he's gonna fight Thanos.
Yes, of course. Now, now I gotta think of a fourth one. This is gonna be hard.
Okay.
I don't think I'll be able to top Stephen Hawking.
I don't know. Okay. I'll give you a superhero. You gotta pick a Captain America.
Oh, should I get offensive? Should I be serious?
I mean, you know the platform that you're on, man.
Okay, fuck it. Fidel Castro.
Okay.
Why? Because
I'm curious.
Personifies America more than a Cuban dictator.
That's fucking okay. I'm all for it. Like I would because I'm the same route. I would have put like Adolf Hitler as like the Winter Soldier and shit. So
That's a good choice. That's
so
a
yeah,
good choice.
you and I are essentially on the same page here. I can dig it.
Yes, I like our team.
I'm telling you, man. Fuck those first 4 movies. That's the movie that everybody needs to see. We need to go fund me that shit and get that fucking role.
Oh man, people are never gonna listen to my podcast again.
they're just watching the movie like, why is Iron Man on the ground all the time? Why isn't he moving?
Oh man,
He's a
That
hologram
was a
and he
great
still
question.
can't fucking move.
Thanos is just gonna look and just like, fuck it, I don't even want to snap no more. I'm just gonna leave.
That's it. He just feels sorry for Iron Man. He's like, you know what? You win, buddy. He just goes.
Just your Earth is safe. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god, man. Oh shit. Well, have you seen any new movies lately?
The only movie I've seen lately was Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, so all right, how was it?
It's excellent.
Is it that's the animated one, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, yeah. See, I was never much on like the animated Marvel movies and shit, so it didn't really appeal to me all that much. But I hear it's good. I hear good things about it.
It is one of the best made superhero movies ever, I'll say, because it looks like a comic book.
Okay, yeah, so I noticed that it had that like unique sort of artistic design to it.
Yeah, it looks like a comic book. And 2, it's a lot more darker than I thought it would be
Really?
in terms of like characters actually die in this film.
Oh shit! All right.
And it's not like they pull any punches with it. This character's dead. Like one character just gets shot in the head and he's dead.
His ass
They don't
ain't
like show his
coming
brains blow out, but he's dead. There's no coming back from that.
back. Damn. All right,
It's a really well put together movie, and it's for people who, because I know one of the things people got mad about was the fact that, oh, Spider-Man's black now. No, that's not the case at all. Spider-Man's not black, playing Puerto Rican. The story makes a lot of sense on why this kid is Spider-Man, and when you finish watching it, you'll be like, okay, you know what? I see why this makes sense and why this kid deserves to be Spider-Man. He's a cool Spider-Man.
Well, I'm as far as like them changing up like the superheroes and shit. Like I'm all for it as far as like if there's a storyline where like the torch is being passed down. Like I don't read the comics, so I know like I think his name's like Miles Morales or some shit. Yeah, I know that he's the new Spider-Man, but I'm not too sure as to how that happened. I know Iron Man is now a teenage black girl, which like again, I don't know the whole story behind it, which is fine, but it's like when they do things like Thor is now a woman for some reason. Like I don't know, maybe he went through like a transgender sort of reassignment surgery and shit. And you know, if that's the case, good for him. You know, I support it. You know, this is a total fucking pro transgender show and shit. So if that's how he wants to be, I'm all with it. I find it confusing. Like, why can't we leave these characters alone and just make new characters? You know what I mean?
Well,
but
I have an answer for that, and it makes perfect sense. And I'm glad you had me on for this specific topic.
all right,
The way Marvel did it makes sense for the characters. Like, for example, Thor, the female Thor, is his girlfriend, Jane Foster.
Okay, so it's not actually like, hi guys, call me Thor now.
Exactly. So what basically happens was Thor ends up losing the ability to wield the hammer.
Okay.
Because he's not worthy anymore. Like, you ever saw the first Thor movie?
Yeah, and he so you're telling me he done fucks up so bad that he can't hold his own hammer anymore.
Exactly. So he gets kind of like a weapon, like you saw Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
He gets an axe now like that. He's still Thor, but he's called the unworthy Thor.
Okay.
So what happens is the hammer still has to go to somebody. And the only person who was worthy enough to carry the hammer was
Natalie
his girlfriend.
Portman.
Exactly. And what happens is, which is a cool story, but people didn't check it out because they were like, oh, they just turned Thor to a girl. No, the story is the fact that her character's dying because she has cancer.
Okay.
So as long as she has the hammer, she gets to live.
So she's
So
got to
it's basically
continue
like
being good, or she dies essentially.
yeah, she basically has to continue being Thor, or she dies. And the story ends up in you can kind of figure out where the story goes with that.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, see, that I kind of can get. I can get behind. It's just like I said, I don't read the comics. I get all my Marvel news off of like the movies and like secondhand Facebook scrollings where they're like, "Oh no, this is happening in the world of comics," but like you never read the articles and shit. Now I know I know as far as like the movies and shit goes, they were talking about like switching over to DC and stuff. They're talking about making Superman a black Superman since he I think the Henry Cavill is like his contract is up or some shit, so he's not going to be Superman anymore. So they're talking about I can't remember the name of the actor, but it was going to be a black guy that does Superman, and people there we go. That's it. Thank you. Now my question is like, how do you think they can pull that off if they're not going to do like? I think that they can do it if they get rid of the whole DC universe and start fresh. Because
that's the only way I can see it make sense.
Yeah, because it's not like you can have a Justice League 2 movie come out and all of a sudden Michael B. Jordan walks in and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm Superman," and everyone's just fucking cool with it and no one says anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think unless you reboot the universe, I don't think they just do Superman's black now. No, and not only that, but DC has some pretty decent black superheroes. So I would rather see Michael B. Jordan, unless you're going to reboot it and make Superman black, which I'm fine with. I'd rather see him play one of those cooler black superheroes. Like, I know they got somebody for Cyborg already, but DC took over. This is getting higher into nerd stuff. They took over a comic book company a long time ago called Milestone.
All right.
And Milestone was created by this black guy, and it was all African American comic books. And so DC took over all these African American comics, like for example, Static Shock.
Yeah.
DC owns that character now.
Okay, so you're saying like a character like that would be good fit for him.
That would be cool. Or DC has a black Superman technically.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And not for nothing. Like, do we really need another fucking Superman movie? We
don't. But
yeah, like Marvel's they're pulling some fucking deep cuts out and making shit, and yet you're still getting a fucking 1,000 Batman movies. I don't know.
I agree with that completely. I honestly say if you're gonna make a black Superman, make Icon. Icon is literally Superman who is black.
Okay.
Has the same powers, same strength as Superman. He's actually a cool character. He's basically like I can't even describe it anymore. He's literally you have to look up the character. He's Black Superman.
Okay.
Even in the comic books, they had a fight. Like when they combined this, the universe was called Milestone Media, right? It was created by Dwayne McDuffie. You ever watch the Justice League cartoons and stuff like that?
Very briefly, yeah. Oh, okay, I see him. Yeah, I can totally see him as like a black Superman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dwayne McDuffie helped like write the Justice League cartoon shows and stuff like that. And he created this like universe, and like I said, Icon's literally Black Superman. And they even had a fight in the comic books where Icon and Superman had a fight, and they went to a draw because they're both the same strength, same powers.
Oh, okay.
And he's an alien. So why not bring a character like that into the fold who literally can just take, instead of like, okay, we're going to make Superman black now, it's a character you don't know that much about that you can introduce to new audiences, and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Make people get interested in this character. I've never been the one who likes to just like, let's make a character black just to make him black. Or let's make him a minority, just make him a minority. I feel like you should make it make sense, and I think people appreciate it more. I don't fall into the people who like pandering to people just for the sake of pandering. I think
we're getting into a point where like we're pandering to every fucking thing. We're now it's like all of a sudden Sandra Bullock has got to be like in every fucking movie, just like all of a sudden it's a female Ocean's 8, or it's like a woman's version of a Quiet Place or something. And like the only reason I brought up the movies and shit to you is when you went and watched Into the Spider-Verse, was there any Trump jokes that were thrown into the mix?
Oh no, not that I noticed. It was literally a fun comic book movie in terms of like how they like, for example, one of the things I loved about the movie is this is not really a spoiler whatsoever, but Miles Morales has a mother and father, a black dad who's a cop, and a Spanish mother. He doesn't live in poverty. He lives to like a privileged. They're not doing the thing where they do in every movie with black people where, oh, his father was a drug dealer or his father's been killed. No, this family has a good life. You know, it's not like Miles is struggling, making and stuff like that. You know,
he's not living the stereotype.
Exactly. That's what I liked about the movie first off bat. He's not like this big stereotype. Like he has an uncle who is in the streets, but even his uncle in the streets is not necessarily like how you see, oh, this guy's a thug. No, he's a normal guy. He's telling Miles about girls and stuff. Oh, yeah, you gotta talk like this to girls. This is how you get the honeys and stuff. He's not really like that part of that played up to the point where you're like, oh, come on now. The way it's done is very well done. And it almost is to the point where it doesn't beat you across the face that, hey, this character is black and Hispanic.
All right. Well, I mean, I only ask because I've been noticing a lot, and we're not a political podcast by any means, and I fucking hate talking politics, and I'm not going to. I just when it blends into my entertainment, that's when it starts to bother me, and it seems that a lot of the stuff that I watch and like movies and TV shows are starting to incorporate like Trump jokes into the mix, and I don't know if you've seen. If it really is, and it's like, okay, I get it. You don't fucking like the guy, you know, but not everybody needs to make fun of him. Like I was a big watcher of Saturday Night Live up until like this last season when they just really hammering the point home to the point where like they're not even being funny anymore. They're just blatantly like making fun of the guy.
That's my problem with it. It's not usually it's not funny.
But I watched I don't know if you've got Netflix, but the new movie the new movie Bird Box with Sandra Bullock.
I heard that was good.
Oh yeah, it is. I enjoyed it. I mean and I know I just ripped on it like a few minutes ago. But I did like it. It's kind of like A Quiet Place, only instead of like being able to make sounds, you can't see what's wiping out humanity. Like if you look at it, it causes you to kill yourself and shit. So the entire time, cool. Yeah. So the entire time she's walking around with this blindfold on, and she's going down this river, and she has these two kids that she never gives them names. She's always calling them boy and girl, and they're like 5 years old and shit. And she's a total fucking bitch to them, just like straightforward, like you're gonna die if you don't listen to me and shit. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I'll recommend it and shit. But there's a certain part in there where John Malkovich starts making Trump jokes, where he's talking about making the end of the world great again and all this stupid shit. And it just totally takes me out of the moment where like I'm trying to enjoy this movie, and all of a sudden, like, okay, well now I gotta think about fucking political bullshit. Like you really had to put a fucking message in a movie like that. It just takes the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, my problem with those jokes are, like I said, they're usually not funny.
No,
I don't mind a good Trump joke if it's funny, but if it's not funny, it's not funny. Don't tell the joke. You don't have to. The jokes are not supposed to be politically correct.
No, of course not. And I'm not saying that it should be, but like, and it's like you saying, like, if you're supposed to make a joke, then make it a good one. But like, timing is also everything. If it's a scary movie and there's a mood that's being set, I really don't want to like be taken out of that moment by someone fucking trying to throw in a fucking Trump joke in the middle of it. And I love John Malkovich. Like, he does a great job in this movie, but I just wasn't into that.
Yeah, I said a couple of days ago on Twitter, it's like I was talking about, we was having a conversation about the whole Chris Rock situation. You saw about everything with that, right?
No. I don't watch like the news or social media and shit. So fill me in. Hey guys, hate to take you away from our regularly scheduled program, but I happen to have an extra special treat with me today in the studio. I have. Well, do you want to introduce yourself, or would you like me to introduce you to the audience?
I'll tell you who I am. As to whether or not you believe who I am or not is up to you.
Well, I know who you are, So why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody else?
I'm Doe.
Man, a few words. That's not normally like you, Marshall. This is Marshall Applewhite from Heaven's Gate, everybody, and he's here with me to talk about SeatGiant.com. Isn't that right?
Now, today is quite a different urgency. It's urgent to me. It's urgent to the students that sit before me. Our reason for speaking to you is because we feel urgently to warn you of what we are about to say.
Well, geez, Marshall, it sounds like you got some pretty heavy stuff you want to lay down, so why don't you just let me know what's going on?
This planet is about to be recycled.
Yeah, you and I had mentioned that earlier, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about Seat Giant. I know you and your followers have been looking to get on that UFO behind the Hale-Bopp comet, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys had the best possible seats once you got on board that spaceship. And SeatGiant.com is the place to go for you to get all of your tickets for any event, sporting events, stand-up comedy, concerts, you name it. Seat Giant is your one-stop shop for any and all tickets for any events that you're looking for. I bet they can even get you into one of those many kingdom levels of heaven you've been talking so much about.
There is only one kingdom level. A kingdom level, just like there's a human kingdom. There's only one kingdom level above the human kingdom. And that kingdom level made the human kingdom and designed the planet, designed all of its resources, designed all of its life forms, designed humans, and designed humans even with the potential of leaving the human kingdom in order to go to the kingdom level above human. The purpose of that is to go to the heavens.
Right, and when you go to SeatGiant.com and you use the promo code SACM at checkout, they make sure that you're able to get to the heavens much faster and at a cheaper rate than you would from those standard Ticketmasters and StubHubs and what have you that are out there in this day and age. I gotta tell you, it's really something. I've been on the website myself, tinkering around a few things, and as soon as you go onto the website, GPS automatically knew where I was and helped me find events that were going on around my area. Even stuff that I wasn't aware of, it was showing me, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'm not into going to these sporting events, but having all those options, and there's a lot of options that you're able to choose from. It's just a nice feature to have. That way you don't have to spend all that time typing in a zip code of places that you want to search. It already knows where you want to go.
Everything that you can talk about came from them, including evil.
Well, I don't think I'd go that far. They don't seem like an evil company to me. What's going on with you, Applewhite? Something about you seems a little off today, like you woke up on the wrong side of the spaceship or something.
Is so that you could become exactly what you chose to become when you had the opportunity to become it. And it requires that you, if you move into that evolutionary kingdom, that you leave behind everything of human ways, human behavior, human ignorance, human misinformation.
You're really selling me on this stuff. I like the cut of your jib, though. All right, I tell you what, I'm sold. You got me in. You got a new member. What exactly do I need to do? How do I follow you?
If you want to go there, then you have to follow me because I'm the guy who's got the key at the moment.
That sounds pretty good to me. And if you guys are looking for a sweet deal on the next tickets to your major event, you be sure to go to SeatGiant.com and use that promo code SACM, SACEM, at checkout and receive a pretty nice discount on your next set of tickets. That's SeatGiant.com.
Okay, what happened was a video surfaced that was from like years ago where Chris Rock, Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld, and it was somebody else. They were sitting around. This was on like an HBO show or something. They were sitting around having a conversation. And Chris Rock said that Louis C.K. is basically like the whitest N-word he's ever met in his life. So God. Then when Louis C.K. started joking around saying the N-word like crazy. And then the other guy, I can't remember who it was, The guy from The Office. Not the American Office, the UK Office.
Oh my God. I just had his fucking name. Oh, Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. So he starts saying the N-word. And Jerry Seinfeld's looking like flabbergasted, like, I don't think you guys should be saying that. And they just keep on saying it, and they're going off, and Chris Rock's like joking around with him and laughing. So people got upset with the fact that how Chris Rock literally let these guys go around just saying the N-word, thinking it was okay, like an okay thing to do. While the only person who stood up for him was Jerry Seinfeld out of all people. And I said this comment, it's a very true statement. If you're gonna make a racist joke, that shit better be funny. It better be so funny to the point where we forget it's racist. Because if it's not, you are going to hit everybody's mouth about it.
Oh yeah, well, I agree. Like, context is everything. Like, you can't pull, when it comes to saying something like that, you can't just like pull a Michael Richards and just say it just for the shock value of it, because
exactly.
people are gonna get, but they get hated, feel hatred on it. And I'm a white man, so I really have no right saying anything in regards to it, and like it's I'll admit there have been times where it's been said, but it's not said in a racial stand. Like again, context is everything. Again, and I'm not trying to offend you by any means, man.
Oh no.
But I find it hard to like for people to be so offended by a word where it's like, oh, you can't say that word. It's such a horrible thing to say. But then you turn on the radio and you listen to like your favorite song and it says it like, 3, 4, 5 times in it. Or, you're watching movies and it comes up and it just seems like it's odd that word's being shunned in one way, but yet glorified in another. And I understand for the sake of art and everything, but it's kind of a have your cake and eat it too situation, I guess, with racism.
I get what you're saying with that, and my whole thing is, and this is always bothering about this word, the fact that, like I said, don't take offense to this because this is just true.
No.
People are so obsessed. White people are so obsessed with saying this word. Like, there's a million words in the vocabulary, million words you can say.
I'm not coming off as like I want my. I'm not saying like I want my past.
No. I get that. Like that. I get that too. I get that what you're saying, but like it's not you in particular, but it comes off like, oh, why we can't say this word? But why should you? I don't even think black people should really say it. To be honest with you,
that's my point. It's like if the word offends people so badly, then it should just be taken away from the record book. Like if it bothers you, so like. There are certain names that you're not allowed to name your baby because of how horribly offensive they are, and we stick with that. So if there's a word that is so horrific that you shouldn't be saying it, and I agree, it's not necessarily a word that needs to be said, then just get rid of it from the lexicon. Don't use it in your art, don't use it in your songs and in movies and television and what have you.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And it's hard to do that because of history in terms of like how we've been so and I'm not even say it, like it's been so ingrained in us to say this word. Like you're growing up in the inner city, you're growing up in the hood, you hear the old man around the street, hey, N-word, what you doing? Your N-words ain't supposed to be running around here like that. You don't want the white man to come lock you up. That's the kind of way you hear it when you grow up in the inner city. You hear these kind of conversations go on, so it sticks with you in terms of like, for example, I'm African American. My grandmother, my grandfather, my great grandmother's great grandfathers were called these words disparagingly. They were called these words, and it was hurtful. And then you kind of get the words when they get used to hearing these words so much, they start using them and not even realize they're using them. Like, for example, you got an 80, 90-year-old grandmother who's saying, hey, little N-word, what you doing? They're saying it not because they're trying to be mean, but because
it's just instinctual.
That's what they've been taught. Exactly. It's because they've been told these things so much longer. They haven't been getting called a black person. They've been getting called the N-word.
Right.
And, it's like, and it gets passed on from generation to generation, and it becomes part of our culture. And I think like how women took back the word bitch.
Okay.
They call each other that. You get what I'm saying? black people kind of took that N word and ran with it. Like, no, we're going to give this word power for us. Just like how you go to a girl, like, you can't call me a bitch, but this other girl can call me that. Because that's kind of a term of endearment to them. Black people kind of took that whole same stance to it. And when we hear a white person say it, several things come to our mind. And one of the things that come to our mind is like, yeah, they're saying it to us in a cool, endearing way, but what are they saying when we're not around? Because we know, like, black people are not dumb. We know there are certain white people who use that word 1,000 times a minute when they talk about black people.
Oh,
a
yeah,
black person cussed them off. A black person cussed them off, and they're calling them N-words. And believe it or not, it's hurtful. It's hurtful to hear people call you that because you want to feel like you're on the same level as them. And that word kind of makes it like, no, that kind of word kind of reassures us that, no, you're not like us. We're better than you.
Oh, that I totally get. And by no means, like, this is a comedy podcast. You know, I know we got real fucking serious for a second. And like I ain't trying to disparage people by any means, you know. And I'm not, again, I ain't looking for a fucking pass to say the word and shit. I just find it funny the way that people get so offended by a certain thing, and it's not necessarily just that word. It could be any sort of anything really that somebody takes offensive in one way, shape, or form, but then somehow finds a way to use that same thing in their everyday lives in a sort of, I guess a positive way, because they do enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example of that. I'll give you a perfect example of what we're talking about right now. When I was growing up, it was acceptable for men to call other men, when they're mad at them, faggot.
Oh, yeah.
This is said in movies. It's said all the time. Now, if you say those words towards somebody, it's very offensive, and you're not supposed to do that. We have to taught ourselves to learn to take this thing out of our lexicon because we know it offends people. And I think that's kind of the same way we have to do with the N-word, because, you know, I didn't realize why it was offensive when I was younger, because, of course, you know, when you're younger, you're like, yeah, stop being this, stop being that, you're saying it like that.
Oh, yeah,
when you get older,
you're picking up on words.
Yeah, then when you get older, you start hearing the stories about gays being harassed and beat up and killed over situations and being called at work. You're like, okay, I get it now, why you probably shouldn't be saying this type of stuff. And as we grow, we learn that, like, maybe certain words shouldn't be in our vocabulary no more, in terms of, like, hey, you get older, you get smarter, you get more knowledge, and say, no, what? Maybe I don't have to say that.
Right. Well, maybe one day we'll get to that point. But yeah. Today is not the day to hash that out. I certainly am not the man to like this to get real deep into those issues on. But it is nice. It is nice to hear the takes on other people's opinions on it. But let's get back into the chaos with some fucking questions from the Twitterverse. I've got a shit ton of them here for you. So why don't we start off with a nice, easy one over from the Crime in Movies podcast at Crime in Movies. They want to know, would you rather have frostbite or trench foot? And
what's trench foot?
Trench foot is it's like a jungle rot. It's like when you wear like soaking wet socks and dirty shoes and stuff continuously to the point where it literally starts to rot away at the bottom of your feet.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm going to make this easy and say that you're also going to have frostbite on your feet. So it's not like you can either walk or lose your fingers. It'll all be affecting your feet here.
I would say trench foot. Frostbite seems like it's horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever gotten, like, I mean, first of all, like, wearing wet socks and shoes is, like, my number one pet peeve. It's my big fuck no, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I hate it.
And it drives me, especially after a while when the bottoms of your toes get, like, super pruny and shit. And if they stay that way for a while, it starts to get raw and it actually hurts. I can't imagine it like having to walk on something like that where it's just eating away at your flesh.
But even so, I'm listening to that. I'm thinking about frostbite when your feet get so cold, when that shit can just break off. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, but I kind of I see. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. But I always thought that frostbite like kills the nerves at a certain point. So after a while, your hand just or your foot would just go completely numb. And yes, it would be a horrible thing, and you'd have to lose your foot. But after a certain while, I imagine you wouldn't feel it anymore.
See, I'm trying to think, but if I'm like, let's say what am I in the like Antarctica, right?
Okay.
And my foot just fucking falls off. Would I not just die from like seeing my foot on the floor, just the shock of it?
No, your foot doesn't. It's not like you're dipping your foot in liquid nitrogen and it's breaking off. I mean, like frostbite, like it'll freeze your foot and it kills all the cells and it just like your foot will turn black, like rotting black, and just start to decay away over time. Right? Like it just goes dead. Yeah, it doesn't just up and fall off on you. And if it's really cold enough, it'll just stay frozen to your foot or your body.
I'm trying to figure out which would be worse: watching my foot basically decay from frost, or watching my foot
rot away in like a sweaty fucking.
You know what? In the other one, what is it called? Trench foot?
Trench foot, yeah. Or jungle rot, but trench foot.
Wouldn't your foot smell more in that one case?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like at least in the cold, you're not gonna be smelling it anywhere near as bad.
Okay. I think I have to go with frostbite then if that's the case then.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page there. I couldn't deal with trench foot. That would be fucking horrible.
Yeah, that smell probably would get to me even more. Watching it, then you probably get like if you're in the hot jungle and your foot's dying, you'll probably start getting maggots in it and you probably can see it.
Like you got fucking mosquitoes going after your dead foot and shit, and like you're gonna smack them away, but that hurts even more. And oh god, fuck that shit.
Yeah, that sounds worse. Yeah.
All right, well,
that's a good question. That was a really good question.
Oh yeah, man. I got a bunch of good ones here. And speaking of limbs falling off, the InfoMinds podcast over at InfoMinds wants to know, what appendage do you think you can live without?
Pinky toe.
Okay, you're going small then. I did not think pinky toe. I was immediately going to like arms, legs, feet.
Fuck that. I did all that. Pinky toe, goodbye.
Well,
or a finger.
See, I could live with that. I've always, and I know it's fucked up to say, but I've always said that I feel like the quality of my life, like my quality of living might, like it wouldn't necessarily go down if I lost like a leg. It might actually like increase, because I mean, yes, it would be horrible, and you know there's some struggling to deal with and shit. But once I got into the swing of things, I feel like I could have a lot of fun with it.
Think about that. A leg might be the actual best thing you probably can lose if you're going to lose an actual arm or something like that, because the technology with legs now is just amazing.
And I'm talking like, I don't want to lose the whole thing like up to my waist. Like, you know, I'm talking like from the knees down. And that way, you know, I can get some pogo stilts, or like I could do the pirate peg leg. I would, if I was in a position where I could keep, like, because if I was in this position where I had to lose my leg in like a hospital situation, I'd like to be able to keep the leg, because you're able to keep the leg and or your limbs and back. They don't have to get rid of it. And so I'd get the flesh stripped off of it and get the bone all cleaned up, and then have it secured, and then have my my prosthetic leg be my actual skeleton.
Huh? That might be actually a good idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah, like I mean,
they can actually do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. It's morbid as fuck. Don't get me wrong, but you know, like I kind of think that would be pretty badass, and then especially around Halloween, I could scare the kids with it and shit.
I was reading something today about that, how science is working on the technology for prosthetics where they become like touch sensitive.
Yep.
In terms of like where, let's say you have a prosthetic leg, you can kind of like measure how much of your foot you're going to put down, and technology is getting so good, man, where it's getting to the point where if you lose a leg, you can get another one like that, man. It's not even going to be that much of a hindrance on your life.
No, it really isn't and that's why I say, like, especially with the way medical science and shit's going, I feel like I'd be totally okay with it. And like the same
Yeah.
thing with like a hand, like they make they're I mean, you obviously need big money to do stuff like this, but they have like
Yeah.
those prosthetic hands that are like touch sensitive as well, to the point where they can pick up grapes without popping them and shit. And I kind of wonder what it would feel like to jerk off with a robotic hand. But like, do you think that they would have like a fleshlight attachment that I could secure to it?
That's a good question. I'm quite sure they have to have something similar to that.
I guess it wouldn't really be all that fun unless the whole arm was robotic, because then you could like control the motion of the hand and shit. It's not just all on the fucking wrist. And
Well, shit, man, you can buy a whole damn woman now. With technology, if they have all these damn, they don't even. Back when I was growing up, you'd be like blow up dolls and shit like that. Now they have that. You can buy a whole woman.
It's essentially like a fucking mannequin with a fleshlight in it.
Yes, which is crazy.
Yeah, where you spend like $5 to $7 grand on these things. And like, have you ever seen the guys who own them? Like, I saw a documentary, or like, it wasn't like a full on, it was like one of those NBC or news specials late at night, and they were talking to these people who had purchased these dolls, and they would treat them like they would like girlfriends. It was sad. It was like, it's like they would have them probably like one person had a shit ton of them, and he had one in each room, and he would treat them all differently. Like, one would be like a girlfriend, and another was like a mistress, so he was cheating on her and shit. It's like
insane.
The lengths that people will go to is like you could just talk to a human being, like.
Yeah, you would think so, but people are socially awkward, and it's gonna get worse because of Twitter and technology. The way Twitter and technology is now, you don't have to talk to another person again.
Oh yeah, it's awful. I mean, that being said, follow us at Sack 'em Up Sundays. All right. Well, Kate, our good friend Kate over from the Ignorance Was Bliss podcast at
awesome.
IWB Podcast wants to know, what was your favorite children's book?
My favorite. Okay, I know what it is. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay, that's not bad. That's a pretty good one.
I love that book, even though it's I guess it's a biblical story. You heard about that, right?
Oh yeah, it's a straight up like Jesus allegory.
Yes, it was an excellent book. I used to love that book when I was a kid. I used to love that book, and Where a Red Fern Grows.
Oh wow, okay, I haven't thought about that one in a little bit.
I read these all in elementary school, and Outsiders, of course.
Okay, those are some pretty solid choices. Like I was gonna go with like, I liked The Giver growing up. I thought the book was pretty good. But I gotta say, my favorite books, I'm gonna say they're books of the series, has got to be the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books.
Oh, I've heard of those books. I never got a chance to read them, but I heard they were really good.
Yeah, like I mean, I was young. The stories would scare the crap out of me. But like, if you Google them right now, you would see the animation that was, like, the illustrations that were done for these stories is some of the most horrifying artwork that you will ever see. And they sold it to children. It was fucking insane.
That's like what is it? Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Yes, exactly. But it's but it's just like such an interesting like Ralph Steadman style artwork, where it's so abstract, but it's like such detailed black and white creepy shit. And then the stories, like, you read the stories and they were spooky as a kid, but they're just like ridiculous and silly now. Like, they're kind of like creepypastas, But I mean, that's gotta be on my top favorites right there from growing up. I used to read those all day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great question.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
And we're back. And I am Seamus.
And I'm Red.
Together we bring you the 727 Podcast.
This podcast is dedicated to making you laugh at the world of conspiracies.
Some episodes we look at 2 real conspiracies.
Others, we make up 2 of our own.
With loads of fun and laughs.
You'd only be hurting yourself by not listening to our show. Find 727 on your favorite podcast app.
Or simply visit dramacityproductions.com/7.
Thanks for listening.
And always stay woke.
You have no idea how many people have like volunteered to be guests on the show without like any prior knowledge of what we do here. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe you should listen to an episode first before you decide if it's cool. And they come back to me like, oh, no, we're not gonna deal with that shit. It's not our show.
I listened to the show well before I was invited to be on the show. I knew what I was getting into, and I didn't have a problem with it at all. Because
oh yeah, I mean,
just gotta be true to yourself.
Oh yeah, man, that's why it's awesome. You're brave enough to handle it.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just not like I say. The world right now is too politically correct about things. Sometimes you gotta just kick back and say "fuck a bitch." You gotta have that mentality, like "fuck it, man." You know, have fun. You know, everything's taken in jest. It's fun.
I like it.
Yeah, you know, take things in fun and take it in jest, man, and have a good time with it. That's what this podcast kind of is. You know, don't take all this stuff on this podcast we say is serious. You know?
Oh god. Well, I throw it out right on Front Street. I mean, it's on the fucking logo. We talk about nothing. Like I don't know jack shit about the things that I say on this. Like I just blurt shit out of my mouth and it comes out as comedy. So
yeah, that's how it should be. You know, like I always say. It's okay to be offensive, but the shit better be funny. That's all to it.
Oh shit! All right, well, I got one more question for you here from Twitter, and this is coming from the One Giant Leap for Geek podcast, and they would like, yeah, they're great. They're actually going to be coming on the show. If I can get them on, it'll be later on this week, but if not, it'll be sometime soon. They would like to know, if you were to get arrested, what celebrity would you want to bail you out and why? So you got access to every celebrity known to man. And I'm assuming they're talking about living celebrities.
This is a hard question because the first thing comes to your mind is the celebrity that you want to hang out with and be cool with.
Yeah, but you know, like I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I've seen enough like television and movies to know that when people bail people out, there's usually like a little bit of an awkward silence that follows. Yes. And it's not like the super happiest of moments. So I can't imagine like Robert Downey Jr. bailing you out and then just wanting to hang out with you immediately afterwards. He's probably just going to drop. You're probably not going to get in the car and drive off with them. He's probably just going to bail you out and you'll have to Uber your ride home.
I'm trying to think of somebody who would probably understand the situation.
Okay,
like, you know what, man?
So now that raises the question of, why are you in jail?
Yes. Why am I in jail? And who would be like, you know what? I get it, man. I got you out of here, man. We can go hang out together. I'm trying to think who.
Now, knowing me, I'd probably get arrested for doing something stupid like mouthing off to a cop, or flipping them off, or just out of that quick little fuck you bit of rage that comes out every now and again, where it's just like, I don't give a fuck who you are. So I'd probably get something for something like that, and then they'd probably catch me for like some weed or some shit. But I think if I was to call any celebrity and get bailed out, I think I'd like to call Zach Galifianakis.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, and I feel like only on the hopes that he arrives at the police station in character, like one of his weird out there super awkward characters, and then like he's opposed to my bail and like maybe like make some super judgmental comment about me or some shit. And as I get out of the cell and I walk over and I look at him, he just like gives me this super disapproving look and then walks outside.
I like that answer.
Oh yeah.
I got one.
Okay.
This is gonna be mad offensive, but I'm on the right podcast. But I think this answer is a perfect answer, and it's going to make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Chris Brown.
Okay.
Chris Brown would be the perfect person to bail me out.
Okay, I'm with you. I would just love to know your theory behind that.
Because no matter what I do, I can always just look at him and say, "Motherfucker, you beat Rihanna. You cannot let you do anything I've done when you did that.
You can't judge me. Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Exactly. What can you possibly tell me when you did that?" So now we on the same, like, it wouldn't at that point, it wouldn't matter what I did because it's not going to top anything he's done.
Oh, well, I mean, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, if I was going to do it for those reasons, I'd have to go O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's
or
a
like,
good one.
Or like Casey Anthony, or like something like that.
Yes, those are good choices. Because I feel like if I was to tell the Chris Brown, like, you know what? Fuck it. I can't say shit. Let's go. What can he possibly say to me to like dispute what I'm saying? You did something far worse than what anything I could possibly do.
Yeah, but do you really think Chris Brown would give a shit? Like, he would just like throw the money at the counter and just walk off?
He would give a shit because he probably want to say like, what the fuck? Why the fuck are you in there? I'm assuming that we would have to have a conversation after.
Okay, so this isn't just like I pay for it and leave. There's a little bit of a back and forth.
Yeah, it has to be something like let's say, for example, let's give a little plot behind it. Your parents know this celebrity, or this celebrity owes them a favor, so they told him, "Hey, you got to go bail my son out." Whoever the celebrity may be, so you're gonna have to have a conversation like, "I got to bail this motherfucker out for this shit, like public intoxication."
Okay,
they're gonna be a little salty about it. And they're gonna probably say something to you like, "Yo, I did this for your parents." Like, your comeback line is gonna be like, "Motherfucker, look what you did."
Okay, so under those circumstances, I'm gonna change my answer to Bill Murray.
Why Bill Murray?
I think I would want it to be Bill Murray just because I have seen him like be very comedic. And it'd be interesting to see him take on like a much more serious tone of voice and like lecture me on my bad doings in the world and how I need to turn my life around and shit. Have Bill Murray give you that fucking hardcore dad lecture.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool because
I feel like I would actually listen to it.
So they probably told him like, "Hey, go talk to my son. Help fix him up."
Well, I feel like I wouldn't listen to my parents at all. But if Bill Murray had that kind of heart to heart with me, I think I might be like, you know what, you might be onto something there, Bill.
That's a good point. And I know you love Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, that's my boy right there.
That's a good answer.
He will come on the show one day.
I like that. I think that's gonna happen one day, man. Bill Murray has to come on Sack 'em Up Sundays.
Oh yeah, like I feel like what I'm gonna end up doing is just like searching through all of Bill Murray's works and just taking out audio clips to fit into like a scripted episode of Sack 'em Up.
That works.
Oh yeah, exactly. It'll totally be worth all the work for it because that'd be fucking hilarious.
Oh man.
Oh shit. All right. Well, I got one more question for you. And this is my question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mine. All you people, back off. Now, I was wondering. I'm going to throw a hypothetical scenario your way, and I want to see what you think. How you think it would impact mankind.
Okay.
What do you think would happen to the human race if for one entire year nobody died? Now, like people are being born at the same rate that they are, now, but nobody dies for that entire year.
So let me ask this question then. When you say nobody dies, that means like if somebody gets shot, they don't die from the gunshot wound?
Nah, I mean it
doesn't injured.
Oh yeah. I mean it's a horrible year for you.
Okay. This is a good question. I like this question a lot.
Now, I did a little background check on this because I wanted to get some numbers involved here because I was wondering how many people die per day and per year and all this stuff. And I got on average, I got somewhere between 55 and 60 million people die a year.
Okay.
So, if those people didn't die, and I'm not saying that like they're not going to die ever, but like once the year's up, if you go, it's just back to business as usual. But at the same time, people are still being born every second. How well do you think that would impact the human race?
I think it would be bad in terms of like how our resources would be depleted a lot for one thing. And I think the whole thing of how they talk about how we want to like get people on Mars, that shit would probably be sped up that year. I don't think we'd have enough time to do it that year. But when the year is over with, we'll be well on our way. Like, hey, people got to go to Mars, and it wouldn't be like a question of do you want to go. It's like, no, you have to go.
Yeah. I mean, I know like 55, 60 million people isn't a lot compared to like the grand scheme of like the billions that are out there in the world. But
when
it's
you
just
add the fact that people are being born.
yes, exactly. That's all. That's also like another fucking 60 million people that come. So you're talking about an influx of 120 million people that are just being added on. And in my scenario, like if you were like if you got your injuries would still affect you, but you wouldn't die. So it's like if I shot myself in the head, I'd still live my way through it, but it'd fucking be the most painful thing in the world. But I realized that would be like a much more dark and sinister year for the human race.
Yeah,
like it would.
Then you add to the fact that hospitals will be so overcrowded
Oh
that they
yeah,
wouldn't be able to take people.
Like you jump in front of a train and you get splattered, but you're still alive, or you get fucking your head cut off and they have to like put your head in a jar like you're in fucking Futurama and some shit.
Yeah, man, it would be bad because, like I said, first we'd be overpopulated. Hospitals would be so busy,
and then it's gonna look it's gonna look like a fucking Rob Zombie movie the entire time.
Yeah, it's gonna be really crazy to say the least. And like I said, we're already complaining about how the resources are depleted in certain areas. Like, look at China. China has had an overpopulation problem for the longest, to the point where they're like, no, you can only have 2 kids, no more, no less. If you have anything more than that, we'd have to kill it.
Oh yeah, and areas like that and like Japan where the suicide rate is just so insanely high, like those people would just still be there and yet more people would be coming in.
Yeah, that would be a huge problem. When you add up all those scenarios, it's like it's a recipe for disaster. I can see a lot of more people moving to places like that are not as populated, like deserts in Alaska.
I mean, they'd have to at a certain point.
They would have no choice, yeah. And even now, I think eventually we might have to have those situations happen where some of these deserts and these places that don't have as much human populations are going to get filled up because it's just only so much space this world can have.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit, man. Yeah, like we would definitely be pushing for the damn space program to like send us to Mars and shit much sooner, but like we wouldn't be able to pull it off in time.
Yeah, I can easily see that happening, like because of overpopulation and the pollution and hospitals being taxed so much. Because
I didn't even think about like the way that it would actually impact the environment too. Like because you also have 60 million people who are still alive, who are still like wasting garbage, who are still like shitting and like pissing all over it. Like, yeah, like holy shit, I even think about that.
Yeah, it would be so much strain on our system. Like it'd probably be a total collapse of the system.
Well, you might just be onto something. I think if that's where all these fucking bad guys in movies who are trying to like bring about the end of the world are fucking up. They just need to find a way to stop death just for a brief period of time.
Yeah, that's all you really have to do. Just if you can figure out a way to keep people alive long enough,
we'll eventually kill ourselves.
Yes. There's a lot of interesting TV shows about that. Like I think well, a terrible movie, After Earth, is a little bit about that.
That's fucking
After Earth had that kind of plot line where Earth was basically destroyed because of pollution and men not taking care of Earth, so they had to find another planet. And I think a pretty decent show, The 100's about that too.
I haven't seen that. Like, I watched After Earth, and that was a fucking shit show.
Yeah, horrible.
Oh yeah. And now he's gonna be the fucking genie in Aladdin, and it's like, God, I got no.
And I love Will Smith, but After Earth was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life and I feel like I got cheated because if you remember, all the promotional stuff for that movie was like, this is a Will Smith movie, and it wasn't a Will Smith movie; it was his son's movie.
Well, yeah, he just had like a cameo appearance in it, didn't he?
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. Fuck that shit. And I think on that note, we're gonna call it an episode here, man. That was pretty fucking awesome. It was awesome having you on. One last time, people. After this, be sure to check out the Delvin Cox Experience. Follow him on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. Anything else you want to plug, bud, before we send it off?
Man, just check out the podcast. If you love the podcast, I'm on another podcast called the Skywalk Cast with my boy Joey Craig, which is awesome. We just talk about video games and life, and Joey's a great guy, so it's an excellent podcast. I think people should check out. It's different from the Delvin Cox Experience. It's different from a lot of podcasts out there. It's just two friends talking a lot like this one, but just talk about interesting things, man, life and stuff like that. It's good. It's good times, man.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Be sure to check that out, everybody. Well, I mean, that's going to wrap it up here. I've been Brandon Fisher, and that's Delvin Cox, and we are out.
Sack 'em up.